Bruchim Habayim. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to all of our guests in Lamport Auditorium, the Fischl Beit Midrash, in the Gluck Center for Jewish Study, and to all those watching this ceremony around the world via the web stream. The moment we've been waiting for, the procession will now begin. Please clear the aisles. Join me in welcoming our ceremony participants, and one more reminder, please silence your phones and all of your electronic devices. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our rabbinic alumni commemorating their 50th anniversary of receiving smicha, who are now proceeding down the aisle. We also welcome those who could not join us today, like my father, Rabbi Howard Joseph, who are watching via the web stream. We welcome and we commemorate all of our musmakhim in the 50th anniversary class. Members of the administration, deans, and vice presidents are now entering. They are joined by special guests who will be sitting on the stage. Members of the boards and administration of the Rabbi Isaac Elchanan Theological Seminary and of Yeshiva University are now entering the auditorium. Please put your hands together. We now welcome our guests of honor, the Rosh Yeshiva and the President of Yeshiva University, who are now entering the auditorium. Ladies and gentlemen, our guests of honor and the president of Yeshiva University are now entering the auditorium. Honored Rabbanim, our special guests, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, we now say Baruch haba, Bruchim habaim. Please welcome the largest group of musmakhim to ever graduate from Reitz in a 4-year period, coming through the aisle right now.
Baruch Elokeinu Shivran, Vayday, Baruch Elokeinu Shivran, Vayday, Elokeinu Shivran, Vayday, Vayday. Hey, Baruch Elokeinu Shivran, Vayday, Baruch Elokeinu Shivran, Vayday, Elokeinu Shivran, Vayday, Vayday. Hey, la 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 la. Hey, la 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 la. Hey, la 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 la. Salanu Toira Seminary Salano Taira Semis, Salano Taira Semis, Taira Semis. And a Salano Taira Semis, Salano Semis, Salano Taira Semis, Semis. La 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 la. I do not Salano Taira Semis, Taira Semis. Hey, la 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 la. Salano Taira Semis, Taira Semis. V'chayei olam, not the b'secheinu. V'chayei olam, secheinu. V'chayei olam, not the b'secheinu. Not the b'secheinu. Yei olam, not the b'secheinu. V'nalei olam, heinu v'nalei olam, not the b'secheinu. B'secheinu. Hey, la 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 la. Hey, v'chayei olam, not the b'secheinu. B'secheinu. Hey, la 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 Baruch Elokeinu Shebran Lichvaydai Baruch Elokeinu Shebran Lichvaydai Baruch Elokeinu Shebran Lichvaydai Lichvaydai Baruch Elokeinu Shebran Lichvaydai Baruch Elokeinu Shebran Lichvaydai Einu Shebran Lichvaydai Lichvaydai Hey la 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 Hey Baruch Elokeinu Shebran Lichvaydai Lichvaydai Hey la 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 Ay la 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 Baruch Elokeinu Shebran Lichvaydai Lichvaydai Hey, la 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 hey la 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 hey yabaram barabam barabam yabaram babam hey barabam kein shibron voy dai ni voy dai hey la 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 hey la 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 barabam kein shibron voy dai ni voy dai la 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 la
Please take your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, please take your seats. If you have not yet done so, please silence your phones. Bruchim habayim. Welcome, everyone. Please turn your attention to the video screen for a special video presentation. Thank you.
Yeshivat Rabbeinu Yitzchak Elchanan, RIETS, is the foundation stone of Yeshiva University, producing nearly 50 musmakhim every year, and with thousands of alumni, it is a vibrant, dynamic place of Torah scholarship. while the Kol Torah of its Talmidim resonates throughout the Wilf campus. The reverberation of its scholarship is felt worldwide. This is the story of Reitz. America, at the end of the 19th century, when the Jewish community was truly in its infancy, a small group of rabbis and lay leaders gathered together with great concern. The new freedoms of the Golden Medina offered great opportunity, but with that opportunity came great danger of assimilation, a loss of our Masorah.
In America, the influence in the street is not a religious one. So if we're not going to have Jewish education, serious Jewish education for our children, we'll lose them. They won't be observant at all. In Europe, before the Second World War, you could be a religious Jew without having learned in a yeshiva. The whole community was religious.
Those who felt strongly became more keenly involved in promoting Jewish education as the sole tool to perpetuate Jewish life.
With great determination and with little wherewithal, they established a tiny yeshiva on the burgeoning Lower East Side at a private home on Henry Street.
Reitz was named as the Rabbi Isaac Elchanan Theological Seminary in 1886 in memory of Rabbi Isaac Elchanan Spector, who was the major rabbi in Europe who had passed away at that time. It was located on the Lower East Side.
There was already a large group of Russian immigrants who had come to America, and they wanted to honor this rabbi, who was the rabbi really of the whole world almost. And they built this yeshiva on his name, and it became a great university. It was the cornerstone of the whole university.
After 15 arduous years, a new building was needed, and 911 Montgomery Street became home. 5 years after that, 301 East Broadway, where yeshiva blossomed, and scholars, both old and new, reveled in Torah glory.
In the late 19th century, there really wasn't an established yeshiva institution, and Reitz filled the void.
And then, a monumental day in the history of Reitz, the move to Washington Heights. These words spoken by building chairman Harry Fischel.
We have assembled here this afternoon to celebrate the greatest event in American Jewish history, the laying of the cornerstone of the Yeshiva Isaac Elchanan, and the first Jewish college ever built in America. I will therefore say with the psalmist, "This is the day which the Lord has made. Let us be happy and rejoice thereon. We consider this the happiest days of our lives, for we have lived to see our dreams realized."
30,000 people attended the groundbreaking ceremony. And then the Great Depression. Concurrent with yeshiva's rise was the greatest economic disaster of the modern world. With great difficulty, yeshiva persevered. With the war years, its ranks were swelled with Torah scholars escaped from European horrors, and refugees seeking a familiar language of Torah. Its musmakhim took leading roles in war relief and began a tradition of army chaplaincy. During World War II, Reitz Musmach Rabbi Herschel Schachter was a chaplain in the 3rd Army's 8th Corps and was the first U.S. Army chaplain to enter the Buchenwald concentration camp in 1945.
And in 1945, Yeshiva College became a university, and the university branched out under the leadership of the president at the time, Dr. Samuel Belkin of blessed memory, who was the successor to the first president, Rabbi Dr. Dov Revel.
With the end of the war came new challenges. Orthodoxy was decried as irrelevant in the face of explosive growth of other streams of Judaism. Demographers gleefully announced its imminent demise. And then a singular Torah warrior arrived who impacted yeshiva in ways wondrous and immeasurable. The Rav. No single individual has had a greater impact.
You can't talk about Yeshiva University without talking about its Rosh Yeshiva. He was, without a doubt, the towering Torah figurehead of Yeshiva for decades and decades.
I was fortunate to study by Rav Soloveitchik. He had so many traditions in Psak Halacha and heavy traditions, how to study Gemara and heavy traditions in Hashkafa. His chiddush was he was able to say over these traditions in modern language.
Learning the rest of it, and he's suffering with a bite man above his intelligence.
He taught and ordained 2,000 of the 3,000 who have been ordained to date.
He was a tremendous Talmid Chacham. He carried on the brisker tradition of Talmudic analysis. It was an experience to see how people are energized by Torah.
In the years that followed, the yeshiva was faced with numerous financial challenges, which required the support of the entire Jewish community in order to continue.
The fact that we had financial problems was a sign that we were doing things. We need the brach from HaKadosh Baruch Hu to be able to make it. And one way or another, he helped.
Today, RIETS impacts the world. The Center for the Jewish Future has evolved into the service delivery arm of RIETS, serving musmakhim throughout their career and bringing YU Torah to more people than ever in our history through community kollels, Kollel Yom Rishon, and yutorah.org.
The vast majority of Orthodox congregations in North America are led by YU musmakhim.
And they really form the core of many school faculties. They form the largest core of shul rabbis in the country.
Every single student, in addition to their core smicha requirements, also has to fulfill additional courses and internship training for their specific rabbinic role in life.
We'll actually simulate with professional actors what it's like for a rabbi to be counseling someone. This is such amazing training. It's really the equivalent of many years of being in the field.
We have students who become doctors, lawyers, engineers, physicists, and they know how to learn Procession, they know how to pilpul, they know how to argue with the nesivas, they know how to learn very well. That's what the yeshiva is all about.
We're working with rabbis in the United Kingdom, we're working with rabbis and communities in Australia, in South Africa. The yeshiva has convened this unbelievable energy, this unbelievable Torah, and that we can share that Torah with the world.
It's been our tradition that we teach Torah and we do not ask to be paid for it. Every one of the men who come into our smicha program is granted a full scholarship.
The Gemara says, God gave us the Torah, He didn't charge us for it. So we have to teach Torah and not charge for it. And we follow that principle.
Amongst these young men, I'm convinced beyond a shadow of a doubt, are the great leaders of tomorrow. We are embarking on a $50 million endowment fund where we would like to raise enough funds to know that for the foreseeable future, 5, 10, 15 years, the yeshiva can operate and not have to worry about funding. I think that would be a historical moment. We might have been a small yeshiva in 1896, but RIETS particularly has evolved into a major institution in the United States, if not the world.
RIETS is a diamond. It's the best investment anyone can make in the future of the Jewish people.
The tradition that started over 100 years ago, that now continues to be, I would say, the foundation stone of a Jewish future.
President Joel, Rabbi Lamb, Rabbi Charlap, Rosh Yeshiva, honored guests. I have the privilege of introducing Rabbi Menachem Penner, Chag HaSemikhah Chairman, and Max and Marion Grill Dean of the Rabbi Isaac Elchanan Theological Seminary. Rabbi Penner.
It's my great pleasure to welcome you to the Chag HaSemikhah Convocation. Baruch She'achiyanu v'kiyamanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh. B'shus President Joel, whose heroic efforts on behalf of the Yeshiva and Yeshiva University, an absolute commitment to the glorious future of the Yeshiva must be noted and appreciated today. Thank you. and B'Shus, the vice presidents and the Hanhala of the university. B'Shus, Rabbi Lamb. And what a great honor it is to have you with us at this Chag HaSemikhah, as you have been for more than 4 decades of Chag HaSemikhah celebrations. Not one, but 2 entire generations of Rabbanim have passed before you on this stage, nearly the entirety of the American rabbinate. We salute you, Kvod Harav, and thank you for all that you have done. B'Shus, my predecessors, Rabbi Zavulun Charlap and Rabbi Honorees, who've been so helpful and remain so helpful in running the yeshiva. B'Shus, the Rosh Yeshiva, and a special mazel tov to the many Rosh Yeshiva who are celebrating today with children in this class of musmakhim. And a special note to the Schachter and Rosenzweig and Charlap Neuberger families who are celebrating today 3 generations of Reitz Rabbanim. Mazel tov. B'Shus, Chairman Joel Schreiber and the members of the Board of Trustees seated on the stage and in the audience, to whom the yeshiva owes so much. Thank you so much for all you do for the yeshiva. And B'Shus, Rav Schwartz Shlita, and Mr. Jay Schottenstein. Mazel tov to our honorees today. A special welcome and mazel tov to our anniversary musmakhim, the 50th anniversary musmakhim, who we'll recognize in just a few moments, and to all the new musmakhim of 5774. A special welcome to all the rabbinical alumni of Reitz who are here on campus and around the world. Special note to the members of Chevrat Elef L'Mateh, rabbinic alumni, including members of today's class of musmakhim, who are giving back to the yeshiva every year to help a new generation of students and give them the opportunities that they once had. Welcome to just a few special guests who are here today. Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs, the Kressel and Efrat Family University professor. To Senator Joe Lieberman, who is here as a father-in-law of one of the musmakhim. To Rabbi Mark Dratch, the executive director of the Rabbinical Council of America. To Robert Sugarman, the chairman of the Council of the Presidents of major American Jewish organizations, and the father-in-law and uncle of 2 of today's musmakhim. And to Mr. Danny Ayalon, the Leonard Professor of Middle East Studies, who's here joining us as part of the university. Mazel tov. And welcome to the largest Chag HaSemikhah for a 4-year class in the history of our yeshiva, taking place on the 21st of Adar, the Yortzeit Bo Bayom of Rav Yitzchak Elchanan Spector, for whom our yeshiva is named. It's an enormous group. It took nearly 10 minutes just to bring into the room. And the names and pictures of most of those musmakhim appear in the scrolls of honor, the beautiful scrolls that have been placed around the campus. Due to the early printing of the scrolls, they are so beautiful. Some names appear not just in the scrolls, but in the 4-page programs that everyone has received. Baruch Hashem, all of you guys were able to make it in time for the Chag. Mazel tov. We know that some of you may still be taking your last bechina from your seats and may therefore not appear in any of the promotional materials. But we love you anyway. You have about 90 minutes to finish now. And Rabbi Bronstein is watching you closely from his seat on stage. We celebrate equally and joyfully with every one of our more than 230 musmakhim today. Mazel tov. Please join me in welcoming Rabbi Ronald Schwartzberg, Director of the Morris and Gertrude Bienenfeld Department of Jewish Career Development and Placement for the Center for the Jewish Future on RIETS, who will officiate over today's ceremony. Rabbi Schwartzberg.
Thank you, Rabbi Penner. And mazel tov to all of the musmakhim. Will everyone please rise for the national anthem, which will be led by Rabbi Joseph Rothberger, a member of the 50th anniversary class and a retired United States Army chaplain and veteran, whose two sons are also Reitz musmakhim.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land, the free, and the home of the brave?
It is now my distinct honor and pleasure to call to the podium the president of the Rabbi Isaac Elchanan Theological Seminary and Yeshiva University, Richard M. Joel, who will preside over our ceremony. President Joel.
Zeh hayom asa Hashem, nagila v'nismechavo. This is the day that God has made. Come and let us rejoice in it. Today marks a singular moment for the Jewish family. What a moment. The sight of you. 230 shapers of our future. A moment pregnant with the promise of your collective capacity to lead us all to a better tomorrow. As the president of Yeshivas Rabbeinu Yitzchak Elchanan, as the lay steward of this sacred and storied house of learning, I want to offer my reflections on what is a momentous occasion and articulate its significance as I see it. The prophet Yeshayahu proclaims, V'chol bonayach limudei Hashem, v'rav shlom bonayach. All your children shall be taught of God, and great shall be the shalom of your children. The Gemara Brachos Daf Samach Daled Amar Aleph famously says, Al tikrei bonayach ela bonayach. It takes the word bonayach, your children, and interprets it as bonayach, your builders, indicating that students of Torah build and preserve the Jewish people through their learning. Two meanings, children and builders. Ostensibly, we choose our interpretation, and yet Chazal teach us the notion of ein mikra yotze midei pshuta, that we may never fully abandon the literal meaning of the text. And so our responsibility, yours and mine, as Limudei Hashem, is to understand and fulfill both of these roles, as children and as builders. The most basic interpretation of this dichotomy speaks to the magical duality which sits at the epicenter of Yeshiva University and defines our critical purpose in the world that will continue for generations to come. Our responsibility to be the inheritors, the children, if you will, of a sacred, textual tradition that informs a rich life of mitzvah while partnering with God in advancing civilization. You, as Rabbanim, have the sacred responsibility of being both bonayach and bonoyach, children and builders of Klal Yisrael. Here in North America, in our beloved Medinat Yisrael, and throughout the world. As builders, as bonayach, you serve as the guardians of the halachic process. You will inform decisions on contemporary matters and tread the line between Torah norms and modern sensibilities. We are a law-based people. We are blessed with a sacred legal system. It defines us. Jewish jurisprudence matters. Non-negotiables exist. The openness of modern society challenges our commitment to process and to precedent, but that commitment is what is at our core. Your rabbeim and teachers have trained you to celebrate responsibility and advance society through that legal system. They remain to guide you. Authorities are available to advise. It is that commitment to the halachic process that enables us, through you, to embrace tomorrow. In this way, you serve as bonayach. You are the contemporary builders of our living and breathing Masorah. You are our builders, but you build upon. You do not build anew. And as builders, you must also use all the professional training you have acquired and the intellectual rigor that you possess, and the skills of leadership, community building, counseling, planning, and vision in working with all Jews to shape the community of tomorrow and expand its input. And yet you are not simply bonayach, but bonayach. And you must fulfill that role by preserving the delicate innocence and joy of childhood. You must overcome the so too prevalent penchant for cynicism and seek to discern the beauty and wonder in all people and things. You must safeguard the innocent notions of shmiras halashon. You must comport yourselves with childish and childlike gentleness and model ahavas chinam. You must conduct vital conversations, but with a child's goodness, patience, tolerance, honesty and compassion, as respectful and loving children, with humility, reaching beyond, looking to make new friends. Bonayach and bonayach, two parts of the same person, two halves of a nuanced whole, builders within a sacred system, children of understanding. The remainder of our verse states, V'rav shlom bonayach. It speaks to a sense of shlemut, of wholeness, of integrity. That is the mandate of Limudei Hashem. This is your destiny. This is your destiny. This is our lifeline. As bonayach and bonayach, as our children and as our builders. And as I look upon you, musmakhim, spouses and parents, family, my heart brims with hope. Hope that you will embrace nuance and not run from it. Hope that you will respect and revere the halachic system into which you enter while responding to needs of our people with warmth, humility, and understanding. Hope that you will inspire all of us to build lives of meaning and purpose, engaging with the wide world around us while informed by our sacred Torah. And finally, hope that you will bring about a true state of shleimus, of wholeness, of integrity, for us and for all of Klal Yisrael. Hashem oz la'amo yitein. Hashem yivorech es amo v'shalom.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce to you the chairman of the Rabbi Isaac Elchanan Theological Seminary Board of Trustees, Rabbi Joel Schreiber, who will share thoughts on this momentous occasion and also will present the members of the 50th anniversary class.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and musmakhim. B'shus Rosh Yeshiva, it is my pleasure, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, to welcome you to today's Chag HaSemikhah celebration. It is truly an historic day. I wish Mazel Tov to our prestigious honorees, Rabbi Gedalia Dov Schwartz, Mr. Jay Schottenstein. Mazel Tov to the record class of new musmakhim and their families, and Mazel Tov to the members of the Rabbinical alumni who are celebrating the 50th anniversary of their Chag HaSemikhah. It is truly a privilege to stand before all of you today. I would be remiss if before I continue, I did not thank those who have worked so hard to make this day the success it is. In particular, and I've worked with these men and women, in particular Dean Menachem Penner, without whom this day would not have taken place. And Aaron Leibowitz and Janine Kay and their staffs. They've just done a marvelous, marvelous job, and they deserve this great round of applause. And in thinking of who is really, truly responsible for your being here today and achieving this great degree, those who really are responsible are the men sitting behind me, the Rosh Yeshiva, and I think that for that we need a big round of applause. Before I begin my short remarks, I must note with sadness the absence today of the Vice President of the Board of Trustees, a true friend and mentor to so many at RIETS, Mr. Herb Smilowitz, Zichrono Livracha, who left us suddenly just about a week ago. Herb was a quiet giant who led his family, his community, our yeshiva, and numerous institutions with unparalleled integrity, optimism, and generosity. He is missed by all of us today, and this celebration will remain incomplete without his physical presence. Yehi Zichro Baruch, and may his family be consoled amongst the mourners of Tzion and Yerushalayim. The Rav Zatzal, in a talk delivered to the RCA in the year 1955, spoke about the role of a rabbi. And quoting the Rambam, he said that the mitzvahs given to the Kohanim in Sefer Vayikra actually applied in a sense to all men, inasmuch as all men can serve Hashem, but he said especially Rabbanim. He quoted the Navi Yecheskel in Perek Mem Daled, where Yecheskel describes and commands the duties of the Kohen, and therefore the Rav says to the Rabbanim, Ves ami yoru ben kodesh l'chol, uvein tamei l'tohar yodium, ve'al riv hemo yamdu la'mishpat, b'mishpatai yishpatuhu, ve'es torasai, ve'es chukosai, b'chol moadai yishmoru, ve'es shapsusai yikadeshu. The Rav sees these duties to be the responsibility of the rabbi, to teach our people, to learn ourselves, to instill in them the beauty of our halacha and its ways. But the Rav stressed that Yecheskel did not say ve'es shapsusai yishmoru, would have fit much better into that sentence as another duty, but he used the term yikadeshu, from which the Rav deduced that sanctifying is the role of the rabbi. Through his life, his words, his actions, the rabbi must show the tzibur the beauty of our hashkafa. He is the model for all to follow. The rabbi stands between Hashem and the public. He must be on a higher plane in his speech, in his actions, and in his statements. He must be an ethical leader as well as a moral leader. and stand on a higher plateau. We of the board and all the supporters of our great yeshiva look to you to create the next link in the long, long chain that reaches back thousands of years. You are our hope, and the values we hold so dear will be passed on to a new generation, and that our efforts will not have been expended in vain. On a personal note, this room holds so many memories, mostly about the Rav Zatzal and his great drushes. But at this moment, I see myself here, over 50 years ago, believe it, sitting in the back rows of Lamport, on my right there, taking my first written bechina that was instituted by the Rav. I sat in that seat from 9 in the morning until 6 o'clock in the evening. I was thorough, I was a bit scared, and if you care to know, I received a very good mark. I have lived through a great part of the movie we call life since then, and though not a Navi, I can with certainty predict the following. The years you have spent in yeshiva will influence your life. They will influence who your friends will be, who you will marry, and especially what your value system will be. Of this I am very, very certain. I can also predict with certainty that sitting in front of me now are some of the great leaders and thinkers of the next generation. I do not know which of you it will be or how many will emerge, but I know without a doubt that this is true, and I've seen enough to know this to be so. Follow the Rav's teaching, be the example of the Torah true and halachic Jew, and bring us closer to the Yomos HaMashiach we pray for every day of our lives. It is now my pleasure, on behalf of the Yeshiva, to formally acknowledge the members of the 50th anniversary class who celebrated at the Chag HaSemikhah of 1963. Will the members of the 50th anniversary class please rise? And I must say it's including my brother, I have to put a word in there, Simeon Schreiber, including those on the stage, Rabbi Yosef Blau and Mashgiach Ruchni of Reitz, and Rabbi Robert Hurt, Vice President Emeritus. I will read from the certificate. Stand, don't be ashamed. You don't have to be ashamed standing. I know how old you are, don't worry. The plaque will read, Yeshiva's Rabbeinu Yitzchak Elchanan, the Rabbi Isaac Elchanan Theological Seminary, Yeshiva University, in celebration of 50 years of dedicated and inspirational leadership, and upon the recommendation of the Hanhala and Board of Trustees, we recognize the rabbi's name, whoever you are, as a rabbinic alumnus, in testimony whereof this certificate is granted on the 23rd day of March, 2014, Chaf Aleph Adar, Beis Tashad. Thank you so much.
Distinct honor, please join me in welcoming Harav Michael Rosenzweig, Rosh Yeshiva and Rosh Kollel of the Israel Henry Barron Institute of Higher Talmudic Studies at the Rabbi Isaac Elchanan Theological Seminary, and the proud father and father-in-law of two of today's musmakhim, Rabbi Rosenzweig.
Shus, Rav Lam, President Joel, Amitai, Roshei HaYeshiva, Avi Mori, V'chami Mori, musmakhim, their families, parents, spouses, everybody. The Kol HaKol HaKadosh Hazeh. It's really a very special schus, a special privilege to participate in this program of the Chag HaSemikhah as one of the extremely proud Rebbeim of our wonderful group of musmakhim, future leaders, and also, as noted, the proud father of Rabbi Moshe Ariel Rosenzweig and the proud father-in-law, Rabbi Shmuel Dov Weiss. There's a palpable sense, a feeling that Tachut HaMeshulash Lo B'mehera Yinatek, that this three-generation smicha continuity of our family, as we join together with other special Yeshiva Rabbi Yitzchak families, marking 3 generations in the special Masorah of our yeshiva, is truly something very special. I've had the special zchus of banim, of children that are wonderful talmidim, but equally of many special talmidim. As I look out in the crowd, all the memories are flooding back, that are banim relationships as well. Forged, of course, in the transformative excitement and the profound significance of meaningful pilpula d'oraisa, the daily exchange of Talmud Torah, the war of Torah, which leaves us all in a greater sense of fraternity and love. The phenomenon of transition, the rite of passage, if you will, is something that is endemic to any significant milestone. But it's far more challenging for musmakhim. Because smicha is not simply a diploma, it's not simply a degree. It represents a monumental intellectual and educational effort, but it transcends this significantly. Our musmakhim are much more than Talmudic technicians, like the classical smicha upon which the Tilas Rishus, our present-day smicha, is based and patterned. Our contemporary smicha aspires to foster halachic and spiritual leadership, mandating the cultivation of effective, articulate, and responsible ambassadors of Torah. And not simply goodwill ambassadors, but substantive halachic scholars who are fully committed to, who identify with the halachic system and the fraternity of Chachmei HaMasorah and all of that implies. The challenges of assuming this mantle are singular and they're multiple. How does one evolve in the exercise of rabbinic leadership as one's career evolves and various challenges are encountered? What's the fine line and the proper balance of being and remaining a Talmud, a student, and also serving the community as a Rebbe? After all, smicha is Korile Rebbe, as someone who is a mentor to others and even to communities. How does one determine when it is appropriate to assume and to assert responsible, independent, principled halachic leadership? Yiftach bedoro, kishmuel bedoro. Every generation requires and will develop its leaders. And to the same time preclude the criticism of being a Talmud shehigia lahora, a qualified decisor, she'ena moreh, who is too reticent to engage the issues in front of him. At the same time, when should one defer to greater experience and especially superior knowledge, judgment, discernment, and authority in order to avoid an even greater, a more egregious infraction of Talmud shelo higia lahora, someone who doesn't have the qualifications and nonetheless oversteps his authority, a terrible crime. While usually it is self-evident in the global and the complex issues, the Dvarim HaGedolim and the Dvarim HaChashuvim, in the Yisro Moshe Rabbeinu paradigm of rabbinic hierarchy, the line can occasionally be ambiguous. How does one grow as a Talmud Chacham outside of the confines of the yeshiva while balancing other leadership responsibilities? What's the formula for retaining the enthusiasm and the idealism, the Banayich aspect, developed in the halls of the Beis Medrash, while simultaneously engaging real-life halachic challenges and issues. I believe that an approach to these important questions is encapsulated and crystallized in a succinct yet intriguing, innovative formulation of the Rambam regarding classical smicha, which he describes as being traced back to Ad Beit Dino shel Yehoshua, Ad Beit Dino shel Moshe Rabbeinu, apparently a dual or double-tiered source or lineage. The difficulty is evident. The smicha that is bestowed upon Yehoshua by Moshe Rabbeinu was sui generis. It was unique. The fact that it alone included smicha biyadayim, literally the placing of Moshe Rabbeinu's hand on Yehoshua, confirmed the other singular qualities that accompanied it. The central objective was clear: national leadership. The methodology, nesinas hodo alav, giving literally of his own aura. And the effect was conveying hashras hashchina, as the Rambam in Perek Daled Hilchos Sanhedrin himself codifies in that same context. But was the gap between the initiation of smicha, of that smicha, and Yehoshua's subsequent and more modest efforts without yadayim bridgeable? Either citing Moshe Rabbeinu's precedent is irrelevant to historical smicha, or the crediting of Beis Dino shel Yehoshua is superfluous, even erroneous, as it was eclipsed by Moshe Rabbeinu's own initiative. If the chasm is indeed insuperable, then the tantalizing Moshe Rabbeinu reference might merely highlight the inadequacy or the inferiority of subsequent smichos, something which certainly would not be a constructive or an inspirational goal to follow. This enigmatic depiction is, however, typical of halachic thinking and especially of Maimonidean thought. The Rambam is positing a dialectical solution to the problem, with this flourish inspiring us to examine microscopically the implications of the double source of smicha, as well as its diffusion or proper application, if sometimes complex. This articulation is not merely a historical chronicle, then, but reflects a vital ethos on issues that are timeless and endemic to the Masorah experience, but have never been more relevant in our own era. Let's examine very briefly just a few of these implications of the Rambam's formulation, which I think really dovetail the philosophy of our yeshiva and which highlight the appreciation that we have for our special musmakhim today. Firstly, by removing Moshe Rabbeinu as the direct link, the Rambam accentuates his elite, exclusive status, both as Rabbeinu, the repository of Torah Shebaal Peh, its principles, its methodology, its details, as well as the inherently unsurpassed status of Moshe as Adon HaNeviim, the ultimate and unsurpassable Navi. As adherents of the Masorah, which Moshe Rabbeinu initiated, it's critical on all subsequent generations, including our own, to acknowledge this inimitable status and its implications for the Torah's immutability, its enduring truth, its binding character. We must never obscure the goal to strive to internalize and to actualize the historical Torah's emes, Torah's Moshe. Moreover, Moshe Rabbeinu's consummate stature, his singular authority as the ultimate arbiter of the Dvarim HaGedolim and the Dvarim HaChashuvim in the Yisro-initiated rabbinic hierarchy reinforces the need for an effective rabbinic hierarchy that facilitates halachic life in every generation. The Rambam's formulation reminds us that while Moshe Rabbeinu stands at the apex of the Masorah, his preeminence is unique and foundational. Moshe's irreplaceable quality, his foundational role, is dramatically attested to in the Gemara in Masechet Tmura, Daf Tezayin Amud Aleph, which reports that upon his death, 3,000 halachos mysteriously vanished from Klal Yisrael. They were lost to the Jewish people. Presumably, the Gemara is not describing a collective amnesia, but the spiritual and intellectual paralysis that reflected extensive halachic reliance upon the persona of Moshe Rabbeinu. Klal Yisrael's initial panic that the very continuity of the Masorah had been compromised, absent Moshe Rabbeinu's authoritative and interpretive imprimatur. At the same time, it's important to stress the second element. The Rambam's elevated but one-step removal of the integration of Moshe Rabbeinu into the history of classical smicha, Ad Beit Din shel Yoshua, Ad Beit Din shel Moshe Rabbeinu, despite and because of his singular role and stature, is equally important to the legacy of smicha. It's axiomatic that Torah's Moshe and the unmatched persona of Moshe Rabbeinu remain the goal and the gold standard of the entire Masorah enterprise. It's what we here in Yeshiva Yitzchak Elchanan educate to. Nor should we lose sight of the fact that Moshe transmitted a Torah's Chaim, a living Torah, a dynamic Torah, and one that is characterized by Torah's Hashem Temima, self-sufficiency, which with proper Yiras Shamayim and halachic methodology is capable of addressing all challenges in all ages without recourse to the system of Nevuah. Ein Navi Rashai L'chadesh Davar Me'ata. This part of Moshe's legacy ultimately allowed Klal Yisrael to move forward, to recover the past 3,000 halachos and much more, when Hichser Asniel ben Knaz mitoch pilpulo. Asniel ben Knaz, through his halachic ingenuity, obviously taught to him by the students of Moshe Rabbeinu and the Yeshivas Rabbeinu Yitzchak Elchanans of its time, brought back the Masorah and furthered it and advanced it as well. The Dmus Dyukno of Moshe Rabbeinu, his aura, his integrity, what he stood for, and what he stands for, has always been a powerful force for the Chachmei HaMasorah. It inspires spiritual maximalism, embodied by the Eved Hashem par excellence, in all facets of Yahadus, humility, wedded with halachic integrity, the absolute dedication to spiritual leadership of the entire nation, Ridrosh Elokim. And of course, this theme is not limited only to Moshe Rabbeinu, but applies to all of the giants, the seemingly inimitable and inaccessible pioneers of the Masorah, those who are not only Makabel in the first Mishnah in Avos, but after being Makabel, are also Moser to the next generation. This compelling motif originates in Ad Beit Din shel Moshe, but it spreads to the history of Yoshua as well. And in our yeshiva in particular, as we heard just a couple of moments ago, we particularly understand this concept because we were privileged to live it and to experience it for decades with our version of Moshe Rabbeinu, the Rav Zatzal, Rabbi Yosef Dov Alevi Soloveitchik. His Torah and his voice still resonate so clearly and powerfully and eloquently in our Beis Medrash, and the impact of his Dmus Dyukno continues to inspire us to responsible hora'ah, to maximalist learning, and to the spiritual ambition of being an Ish Halacha, one who internalizes and is defined by the halachic values that he internalizes. Even as our musmakhim leave the Beis Medrash and assume responsible, time-consuming positions, it's critical that they retain this link to the yeshiva, its rabbeim, in substance and in terms of Dmus Dyukno. Every Rav must continue to aspire to the seemingly unattainable gold standard of Moshe Rabbeinu in the continuation of his learning and of Avodas Hashem, his integrity, not only maintenance and not only the preparation for shiurim, but the goal of Torah Lishma and the ideal of Shehei Divrei Torah Mechudadim Bepicha, of achieving mastery and internalizing Torah. It's vital to be inspired by the unattainable paradigm of Moshe Rabbeinu, even as it's equally critical that we acknowledge both our limitations and the glass ceiling that keeps that level just a little bit beyond our reach. And finally, most importantly, the Rambam's formula provides a methodology how to bridge the barrier to gain access to Moshe Rabbeinu, seemingly impossible. And the answer is, it's precisely by means of Beit Din shel Yoshua, through the persona and the concept of Yoshua ben Nun. Yoshua and Moshe present a study in contrasts initially. The creative, dynamic Pnei HaChama, the sun of Moshe Rabbeinu, and the reflecting Pnei HaLavana, the moon that reflected his greatness in Yoshua. The exemplar of Rebbe, Rabbeinu, Korile Rebbe, and the ultimate Talmidim, the ultimate Talmud, Layomish Mitocha Ohel. Precisely Yoshua, though, who accomplished the unthinkable as he emerged as a successor to the seemingly irreplaceable Moshe Rabbeinu, ensuring both the preservation of the Masorah and its creative continuity. Only the quintessential Talmud, could have evolved into the proper Rebbe in its own right. It's the halacha's wrinkle on Carlyle's famous insight that great men are reared in great nurseries. The legacy of Yoshua is not only tireless perseverance, nar layomish mitoch ha'oel, unwavering loyalty, but even more importantly, the profound insight that Moshe Rabbeinu was not only the repository of the information of the Masorah, but personally embodied its principles and its values, shimusho gadol milimudo. This ethos uniquely qualified Yoshua as the first Talmud ever to become a Rebbe, to be the crucial link in the Masorah, and really the founding father of smicha. All of us need to cultivate both our Rebbe and Talmud persona, our Moshe and Yoshua persona. And we need to do that simultaneously and dynamically. That is what our smicha program really is all about. The true Talmud who becomes a Talmud Chacham not only remains a Talmud, but its status of Chacham really flows from the dominant part of his persona as a Talmud. It was Moshe, after all, who encouraged the development of Yoshua, even as Yoshua perceived himself as Eved Moshe, typifying the halachic perspective on the dialectic between Rebbe and Talmud. The Rebbe is the one who strives to equip his Talmidim to achieve their personal destiny, Hamidu Talmidim Harbe, and to take their rightful place in the pantheon of Chachmei HaMasorah, even as the Talmud perceives himself merely as the continuation of his Rabbeim. Such is the unique legacy of the concept of Masorah, the institution of smicha, Ad Beit Din shel Yoshua, Ad Beit Din shel Moshe Rabbeinu. The dual figures of Moshe and Yoshua, the Rambam's formulation of their relationship reminds us that rabbinic leadership is spiritual leadership, connected to V'nasan Mehodo Alav and the Hashras HaShechina. It's a national and a historical responsibility to the past, the present, and the future, and to all segments of Klal Yisrael. We're extremely proud of all of you, of our musmakhim. We're confident that you embody these concepts magnificently and that you will be true to the challenges of Korelei Rebbe, that you will continue to grow as Chachamim and as Talmidim, Lahagdil Torah Lahadira, Mazel Tov.
It is indeed an honor to call upon a colleague and a chaver, Rabbi Menachem Penner, to address our musmakhim at his first Chag HaSemikhah as the new dean of the Yeshiva Rabbi Isaac Elchanan Theological Seminary. Rabbi Penner.
My dear musmakhim, it is such an exciting day in such a historic time. It's not just the Chag HaSemikhah. It's the time we live in. It's Tafshin Ayin Daled, one of the most exciting eras in our history. Dramatic growth of Talmud Torah in the world of the yeshivas. Strong kehilos and thriving mostos in Eretz Yisrael after thousands of years in Eretz Yisrael and around the world. What an exciting time for yeshivas, Rabbeinu Yitzchak Elchanan. And what an exciting time for you to become Rabbanim. How fortunate we are to have you to lead us into the future. And yet, Tafshin Ayin Daled is a time of uncertainty and immense challenge. You, our precious Talmidim, live in a rapidly changing world and in a Jewish community struggling to define itself and struggling to find the Ribbono Shel Olam in an increasingly godless world. With your permission, I would like to travel to another such time in Jewish history. For just a moment, everyone here, come with me to Eretz Yisrael, to Yerushalayim, in the days before the miracles of Hanukkah. It was a time of terrible confusion after the death of the Gadol Hador Antigonus Ish Socho. Two of his students, Sadok and Baitus, had begun a process that would lead to the questioning of the very basics of our faith. Ikarei ha'emunah, once taken for granted, were under attack. Antiochus IV governed Eretz Yisrael, looking to force his subjects to adopt a worldview of Yavan and to abandon their own. It was the days before the miracles of Hanukkah. We always remember what happens after the miracles, when so many struggled to see the hidden hand of the Ribono Shel Olam. And when young men and women, including B'nai Torah from the most established Torah homes, were disappearing into a sea of assimilation. Yes, it was a time very much like our own. But it was more than a time of questioning and more than a crisis of assimilation. There was a frightening vacuum of leadership. Hellenized Kohanim Gedolim, manhigim who lacked the basic credentials to serve the community, held sway over much of the nation. So many Kohanim, once looked to for hora'ah, had essentially caved into the Greeks. And it seemed for the first time that no one towering rabbinic figure and no one rabbinic body could carry the mantle of Torah leadership by itself. Two men, a pair, a zug, would henceforth be needed to stand in the place where one Gadol Hador had led. These two Chachamim, of course, were Rav Yossi ben Yoezer of Tzreida and Rav Yossi ben Yochanan of Yerushalayim. Their sayings, Mishnayos and Avos, are famous. But to fully appreciate them, we have to consider the challenges that their generations faced and the radically different solutions that these two Gedolim proposed. Yossi ben Yoezer ish Tzreida Omer, Yehe Beischa Beisvad LaChachamim. Assimilation is raging outside. Make your homes gathering places for Talmidei Chachamim. To do so, create homes where the most righteous will feel comfortable. And then fill those batim and your batei knesios with those who want to learn, those who want to daven, and those who want to closely and unquestioningly follow the ways of Chazal. Veheve misabek ba'afer agleim. Then attach yourself to them. Walk in the ways of the Rabbanim. Veheve shosa vatsames divreim. And soak in their teachings. Be mechazek yourselves, for you're going to need a lot of fortitude to stand up to the winds of change. Redouble your efforts to find Torah clarity in a world of confusion. Create a safe haven in your homes from a world that's filled with darkness and falsehood. Makes a lot of sense. Divrei Chachma, no doubt, in challenging times. Surround yourselves with fellow ma'aminim. In fact, with people that are on a higher madrega than you. Follow in the footsteps of those who grew up in simpler times and whose lives are guided by the timeless Chachmas HaTorah. It's hard to argue with such an approach. But someone did. A second Gadol B'Yisrael suggested a radically different path for the preservation of Klal Yisrael. He presented a vision of the home not only open to Chachamim, but to the masses. And not just open wide. Rabbi Yossi ben Yochanan, the Av Beit Din, warned that times of uncertainty, when assimilation is at its highest, are not the time for erecting walls, not even protective fences. Instead, those who held to the Eitz HaChaim had a chiyuv to reach out, to simultaneously connect with the people, and not just to reach out to them, not just to teach them, but to sit with them, to listen to them, to hear their concerns, and to reaffirm the unity of Klal Yisrael. Yeheveischa pasuach lirvacha. Open your houses wide. And if I might add to his words, open your batei knesios wide as well. Invite the people, amcha. Make them feel welcome, respected, and loved, regardless of whom they are. V'yu aniyim b'nei veischa. Let those poor, not just the aniyim mamish, but those who are from the lower strata of society, uneducated and unsophisticated as they may be, let them live amongst you. Become as familiar with the needs of your kehillah, your congregational family, as you are with the needs of your nuclear family. Two Reb Yossis, 2 Mishnayos, 2 solutions. An approach of Yiras Shamayim, protecting ourselves and our precious Mesorah, and an approach of Avas Yisrael, embracing others and our precious brothers and sisters. My dear Talmidim, the Jewish world in which you will serve beyond the Koslei HaYeshiva is thriving and strong, but no less challenging and no less confusing than the one that faced these 2 Gedolim in Hellenistic times. We too live in a rapidly changing world in which the very principles upon which our Torah lives are fashioned are under daily attack. An olam hafuch. And in our upside-down world, morality is close-mindedness, and immorality is righteousness. Truth is passé, and lies are welcomed, and sometimes even printed with enthusiasm. We live in a bein hashmashos, Rabbosai, an historic time, part Kodesh, part Chol, but filled with erbuvia, filled with confusion. And we have 2 Mishnayos to guide us, and we need to study these Mishnayos well. But perhaps most of all, we need to remember that they are best understood as 2 parts of one whole. I don't believe that the derech, as explained by Rabbi Yossi ben Yoezer, the creation of homes filled with tzidkus, but by their very nature, somewhat intimidating and foreign to the uneducated, can sufficiently meet the challenges of today. Listen to what I say closely. There are too many people, too many precious neshamos, not just amongst the world of the unaffiliated, but amongst day school and yeshiva high school, and yes, even Yeshiva University graduates, who will be left behind. Nor do I think that Rabbi Yossi ben Yochanan's openness alone, filling our homes with so many common folk that chachamim are left without a seat on the table, is what Chazal were looking to create. These 2 beautiful Mishnayos understood together, these 2 ideals expressed side by side, with each aspect pursued with passion and Yiras Shamayim, need to guide you, the leaders of tomorrow. Yehi beischa pasuach lirvacha. You need to be open. Yes, you heard me correctly. Orthodox Judaism needs to be open. Pasuach lirvacha, to the Jewish people. You need to be open to Jews of different backgrounds, understanding that each precious neshama needs special attention and a unique path to connect to Hashem. You need to be open to the opinions of those with whom you disagree. You need to be open to explaining the truth, the totality of the Torah, to those whose worldview has been shaped by outside influences. You need to be open to examining our time-honored institutions and considering new ideas and approaches. And you need to be open to exposing people to the beauty of Yiddishkeit without insisting that they become just like you. You, the musmakhim of Reitz, need to be open if you hope to lead a generation that desires and will sometimes insist that its manhigim listen as frequently as they speak, accept as often as they judge, and innovate as often as they walk in the ways of their ancestors. And Baruch Hashem, you are open. Don't let anyone ever say that you're not. You're open to learn. You're open to grow. You're open to listen. You're open to devote your lives to Klal Yisrael. You are open to leave New York. Baruch Hashem. You're open to work, as more graduates are of this class than any class before, to work on secular college campuses, those who didn't have the gift of a Yeshiva University education. You're open to teach in day schools in every grade and every type of student. You're open to making a Kiddush Hashem in your hospitals and your law firms. You're open to putting the needs of Klal Yisrael before your own. You are open to lead all of Klal Yisrael b'derech HaTorah. But not every door and every window can be left open during a storm. As open as you must be, you must never leave our precious Masorah exposed. Our Masorah doesn't belong out in the open. When something is precious and yet so fragile, a precious gift for which many have given their lives to transmit to you, you must protect it and guard it with every fiber of your being. Don't underestimate your role as a link in the chain of the Masorah. Moshe kibel Torah misinai u'Masorah liHoshua, and on and on and on. And they, the Chachmei HaMasorah, passed it to your Rabbeim, those on the stage. And today they pass it to you, and you're holding this precious Masorah. Today it transfers to your hands. You must assure that your batim, not just your homes, but your batei knesios and your batei sefer, resound with the kolos and the spirit of your rabbeim. They must be open and exposed, your institutions. They must be open to the Gedolei Yisrael. Struggle with your Rabbeim for answers, but never cease to look to them for guidance. Continue to learn from the Chachmei HaMasorah who sit behind me and next to me, through phone calls, through listening to their shiurim from afar, and Emir Tzashem, through many visits back to the Batei Medrash in which you grew to become Talmidei Chachamim, Rabbanim, and Manhigei Yisrael yourselves. Ashreinu matov chelkeinu, to have these individuals and this yeshiva in our lives. Never forget what you've gotten from Rabbeinu, from Yeshivas Rabbeinu Yitzchak Elchanan. There are many yeshivos and many young men today studying for smicha, not quite as many as you. But you are unique, because Yeshivas Rabbeinu Yitzchak Elchanan is unique. There is no other institution that better represents the ideals expressed jointly by Rabbi Yossi ben Yoezer and Rabbi Yossi ben Yochanan together. Please don't forget how special you are and what you, and I dare say possibly only you, can accomplish. We believe in you, and we actually believe what we say to others about you. You are grounded in Torah and tradition, and you are ready to lead. It is a daunting task that lies before you, but it's a thrilling time to step onto the stage of Jewish leadership. There has never been a group better prepared and more open to meet this challenge. Chazak ve'ematz and mazel tov.
Avashreinu matoim chelkeinu manayim goyd aleinu. Hey, Avashreinu matoim chelkeinu manayim goyd aleinu. Ay ay dilalay ay dilalay la 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 ay dilalay la 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 Ashreinu matoim chelkeinu manayim goyd aleinu. Hey, Ashreinu matoim chelkeinu manayim goyd aleinu. Ashreinu matoim chelkeinu manayim goyd aleinu. Hey, Ashreinu matoim chelkeinu manayim goyd aleinu. Ay ay dilalay ay dilalay la 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 la
Ladies and gentlemen, our first award recipient, Rabbi Gedalia Dov Schwartz, will be presented by Rabbi Honorees, Rosh Yeshiva at Rabbi Isaac Elchanan Theological Seminary and Av Beit Din of the Chicago Rabbinical Council.
Thank you very much. Birshus, President Joel, Rabbi Lamb, Rabbi Chalap, Rabbi Penner, Chavirai, Morai Barabosai. Rabbi Gedalia Dov Schwartz, whose greatness in Torah is a natural outgrowth of his wholesome Yeshivat Rabbeinu Yitzchak Elchanan education, is a quintessential role model for all of us in the RIETS community. He is a living fulfillment of the teaching of Chazal upon the verse, V'ahavta es Hashem Elokecha, sheyehei shem shemayim mizahev al yadcha, that through a yeshiva graduate's virtuous actions and compassionate interactions, he causes the name of Hashem to be beloved in this universe. Mr. President, I am privileged to present Moreinu V'Rabbeinu, Rabbi Gedalia Dov Schwartz Shlita, Rosh Beit Din, and my predecessor as Av Beit Din of the Chicago Rabbinical Council for the Harav Yosef Dov Halevi Soloveitchik Zatzal Aluf Torah Award.
We even sing for you. Gedalia Dov Schwartz. The Jewish world as a whole, at every point along the societal spectrum, proclaims your praises as one of the great luminaries of our generation. Therefore, it is especially fitting that we celebrate your life and contribution at the Chag HaSemikhah by awarding you the Harav Yosef Dov Halevi Soloveitchik Aluf Torah Award, the most prestigious rabbinic award bestowed by our yeshiva. In so doing, we may champion you to these musmakhim as a compelling example of what a rabbi can be and what a rabbi must be. Rav Schwartz, in so many ways, you are the quintessential Yeshiva University rabbinic personality, one of our crown jewels. You were born in Newark, New Jersey, to your parents Avram and Pearl Schwartz. At the age of 17, you entered Yeshiva University, pursuing a double major in classical languages and English. Yeah, right? How many other classical language and English? There are many of them, they're just too embarrassed to say it. In Yeshivas Rabbeinu Yitzchak Elchanan, you gave yourself over to Talmud Torah and began your lifelong love and commitment to learning. It was at this time that Rabbi Soloveitchik Zatzal assumed a critical role as an inspiration in your life. You marveled at his superior intellect and approach to learning. The Rav stood for you as an exemplar of a true gadol, who not only received a secular education, but actively drew on that knowledge in his life and in his learning. You received smicha just yesterday in 1949, and went on to assume rabbinic roles in a wide range of cities, among them Providence, Englishtown, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Borough Park in a little place called Brooklyn. In 1986, you accepted your current position as Rosh Beit Din of the Chicago Rabbinical Council, and later served concurrently as the Av Beit Din of the RCA. Your reputation as a masterful halachic authority, situated amongst the supreme echelons of the American rabbinate, truly precedes you. You and your colleagues have created a safe and sacred makom at the Beth Din of America and the CRC for addressing shilas and resolving conflicts, exuding halachic authority and concern for kavod habrios. The way in which you conduct yourself daily with integrity, dignity, and compassion makes you truly one of a kind, a true gadol b'dorenu. You maintain a measure of accessibility through your wit and charm, which is unique for a person of your stature. Such a method of accessibility that when I wanted to call Rav Schwartz to invite him to receive the honor, I had to reach him in Idaho? Iowa, one of the I-states. And he even took my call. You have earned the respect, the esteem, and the love across the denominational gamut. Those in the yeshiva world respect you as a lamdan and as a posek of the highest caliber with an impressive mastery of halacha, while you proudly stand as a religious Zionist. Those in the larger Jewish world respect you for your worldliness and your willingness to engage. And yet you unabashedly adhere to your Torah principles. You stand at a cross-section of multiple constituencies with the unique capacity to build worlds and to bridge worlds within Klal Yisrael. Rabbi Gedalia Dov Schwartz, we recognize you for all you have done for the Jewish world in championing the ideas and the ideals which stand at the core of our yeshiva. You've nurtured so many of our Talmidim into the capable leaders of tomorrow, and our musmakhim will continue to learn from your inspiring example as they venture into the world as Klei Kodesh of the highest order. It is therefore a profound and personal honor, on behalf of Yeshivas Rabbeinu Yitzchak Elchanan, to bestow upon you the Harav Yosef Dov Halevi Soloveitchik Aluf Torah Award. It's not only suitable for framing, it's framed. So it's please. Okay.
Please. First of all, as I did in Chicago, I had to remove my hat because all of these praises have caused me to think of buying a new one because I've got a swelled head. First of all, I recognize the awesome, I call it awesome, a wonderful honor which was given me today, and I humbly accept it. Kvod Roshei HaYeshiva, Dr. Joel, Dr. Lamb, all the members of the Board of Trustees, of course the musmakhim of 50 years ago, and today's great musmakhim, ladies and gentlemen. I find that receiving this award, which has the name of the Rav, Rabbi Yosef Dov Halevi Soloveitchik Zal, is sort of a destiny in my history in coming to Yeshivas Rabbeinu Yitzchak Elchanan. And I'll tell you why within the space of a few minutes. Because I want you to know, I don't know about the other speakers, but I was given a certain time limit of a few minutes. And as a student of the American Rabbinate and being part of American Rabbinate, I like to follow those orders. How did I come to Yeshiva's Rabbeinu Yitzchak Elchanan in 1942? I was 17 years old. It was my father, Zechreinu Levracha, who was a European Jew from the shtetl Kamenetz Litovsk near Brisk, said to me when there were different people that wanted me to enter another yeshiva. There were other yeshivas at that time, which I don't have to mention. And he said, and we spoke in Yiddish, that was the language in the yeshiva for many years. He said, Dorten, that place, wo an Einikel, a grandson of Reb Chaim Soloveitchik Zal, is a Rosh Yeshiva, the place where that Rav, he's the grandson of Reb Chaim Brisker, is Learn Torah, is teaching Torah, Dorten will ich schicken mein Sohn. That's where I'm going to send my son. So here I am. I received the reward, which is connected to the name of the Rav to the Soloveitchiks. And why did he say that? Was it some sort of connection? And the connection was this, because the grandfather, whom I'm named after, Gedalia Dov of Kamenetz, was a Talmud in Volozhin Yeshiva. He was in the era when Reb Chaim and the Netziv were both concurrent. They were Rosh Yeshiva. He was a Chevrusa who later on became a famous Marbitz Torah and also said Shiurim here with Reb Shimon Shkop Zal. And later on, when he came back to Kamenetz, which was only 16 Russian Vyorst, 16 Russian miles from Brest-Litovsk, which is Brisk, and when he came there, and he was in Kamenetz before the First World War, he used to visit periodically a Yotzei V'Nichtas. He entered the house of Reb Chaim in Brisk and, of course, discussed matters of learning. And he also went to see his old Chavrusa, Reb Shimon, who then was a Rav in Bryansk in a shtetl, Reb Shimon Bryansk, before he became famous later of establishing the great yeshiva of Shari Torah in Grodno. So that's my connection with the Soloveitchik family, the Beis Harav, because my father sent me Yeshiva's Rabbeinu Yitzchak Elchanan. I spent 7 years in succession in the yeshiva, entering post-high school, because I never went to yeshiva before. I had private learning. In Newark, New Jersey, there was no such thing as a day school or post-high school or anything of that sort. But I was fortunate to have a great Rav, a Mechaber of Sforim, Rav Mendelson Zal, who was my personal teacher for years. So I was a bit prepared to enter the yeshiva. And my purpose, above all, was not only to get a complete education of Torah and of Mada, of the other disciplines in the world, but the emphasis, the priority, the first thing, the rishon of everything was learning Torah. It was a great opportunity. And it must be said at that time that I had magisterial teachers of Torah, of all sorts, of different nuances in their method of teaching. And the Rav himself said, I heard him say it in this auditorium at a Chag HaSemikhah. It must have been in the late 40s, when the Rav at that time was always the major speaker at the Chag HaSemikhah. He cried out, and at that time I thought, what a declaration. He said, "Wir haben die größte Rosh Yeshivas in the Welt." We have the greatest Rosh Yeshivas in the world. And being here over Shabbos and knowing what's going on in Yeshiva, I say the same thing. Wir haben die größte Rosh Yeshivas in the Welt. I'm still conscious I have a couple of minutes left. Now, after being 7 years in the yeshiva, receiving smicha, and smicha then was a real confrontation in a room where we're sitting, the Rav, Zal, Rav Shatzke Zal, who was my Rebbe for 2 years, the Lomzer Rav, a remarkable Pikeach Otzum, a Goan Olam, and Dr. Belkem, who was extraordinary Talmid Chacham, and all participated in trying to tear apart the applicant for smicha. But I emerged, Baruch Hashem, unscathed. And after a while, I entered the first kollel. I am a member, and I think Rav Tendler, soll sein gesund, who was a contemporary of mine in Yeshiva. I'm proud to be called his contemporary. He was a member of that first kollel, which started at the end of 1950. And it was monitored very closely by the Rav Zal, who came in to give shiurim, especially to the kollel and to his regular shiur. So that's my connection with the yeshiva. But it must be said that the secular education that I received, and this I know from my own personal experience, after being in the American rabbinate, and I call the American rabbinate myself, and we use a military term. I have been in the trenches of the American rabbinate. I'm not sitting, Baruch Hashem, people can sit in the world of academia, all power to them, Tov Aleim Bracha. But I had to sit in those trenches to face all those problems. And so not only the mastery of Torah, which I try to do as much as possible out of the yeshiva, to use it as greater momentum for learning, but also the secular education, those classical things, literature and all, and speaking to audiences, congregations, I was able to blend in that knowledge under the umbrella, under the womb of Torah. As the Chazal have said, Yefef Yufso shel Yefes Be'ola shel Shem, that the beauty, whatever beauty there is in that outside world, should be contained in the tent, in the overwhelming Mishkan of learning Torah. That has been my ideal, to combine that, and I've always remained a curious person, curious in trying to get more mastery of Torah, at the same time to understand how I can relate those secular things to the Torah learning that I have gained in years in the Rabbanus. What I must say as a private direction to the musmakhim, once one of the great teachers later that came to yeshiva was a Rav in Borough Park, the late Rabbi Harry Wahlberg, Zechayna Levracha, once described two categories of musmakhim. One is a balabatish Rav, a Rav who is balabatish, he's good with the congregation, and a rabbanish balabas, a rabbinic layman. Now, I know in the musmakhim you'll have both kinds. Try to be both in the full sense of the word. Know your boundaries and how to relate to the congregation. And with that, with the inspiration of all that you have learned in the yeshiva, the Torah, the midos, the mastery of direction, and all of the other disciplines, that should be your goal, especially now that you've received smicha. I once heard from a musmach of Rabbi Elchanan Zal, whose yortzeit is today. We had a musmach for Rabbi Elchanan in Newark, New Jersey, who at a very young age received smicha. So he wondered, how come he got smicha at an early age? So he said, Rabbi Elchanan said to him, I'm giving you smicha. That's the beginning of your mastery of learning. That should give you the momentum to go into the great worlds in the depth and the comprehensive knowledge of Torah. And that's what you have received today. So whatever it's worth, my humble blessing, that you should go from chayil to chayil, musmakhim of all shades, of all directions, of all disciplines, but you should go to that ideal, as is explained. We say, Torah's Hashem Tamima. The Torah of Hashem is complete. Meshivas Nefesh. Meshivas Nefesh does not only mean it quickens the soul, but I think from the name Reb Shamshon Raphael Hirsch said, Meshivas is a Lashon Meshiv. It answers all of the questions that we have in life. So I hope that you will be blessed with that ideal, go from Chayil to Chayil, Chazak v'Amatz. I thank you very much for this great award.
Toiras Hashem Tmima, Toiras Hashem Tmima, Toiras Hashem Tmima, Yeshivas Nafesh, Toiras Hashem Tmima, Toiras Hashem Tmima, Toiras Hashem Tmima, Yeshivas Nafesh.
Roll up to the stage, the Yadin musmakhim, dance with the rabbis.
Nemana Machimas Pesin Hayeidos Hashem Haynemana Machimas Pesin Hey!
It's superb so far.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next award recipient, Mr. Jay Schottenstein, will be presented by Rabbi Kenneth Brander, Vice President for University and Community Life and the David Mitzner Dean of Yeshiva University Center for the Jewish Future.
President Joel, I'm honored to present Mr. Jay Schottenstein, Chairman of Schottenstein Stores Corporation and Yeshiva University trustee, who with his wife and life partner, Jeannie Schottenstein, have created a global renaissance in the study of Talmud and Torah and have continuously shown concern for the neediest of our people, be they around the corner or around the world, for the distinguished Eitz Chaim Award.
Thank you. So, gentlemen, you understand that we wanted to give you gifts today. Right? One of them was Rav Schwartz. The other is Jay Schottenstein. Jay Schottenstein, you are a man of vision and caring. Your illustrious career has been marked by your sharp business acumen and unique knowledge of industry and deal-making. But your dedication and investment in the Jewish future has always been your trademark, promoting Jewish values, shaping the next chapter of our Jewish story. The Eitz Chaim Award, our yeshiva's most prestigious honor to a member of lay leadership, serves as an opportunity for us to celebrate your steadfast commitment to Torah and to Yeshiva University. But you have not done this alone, as you would be the first one to tell me. Your wife, Jeannie, has been a full partner and supporter in the amazing work that you have together accomplished. Your friends marvel at your relationship. Jeannie, they marvel at Jeannie more than they do you. Jeannie truly is your other half, your mirror, a lifelong partner whose warmth and caring nature underscore her incredible generosity. Many know you as an influential corporate executive and a master of negotiation, But you and Jeannie are equally known as benefactors and philanthropists of countless organizations ranging from, but certainly not limited to, Columbus Torah Academy, Congregation Torat Emet, the Ohio State University, a proud Torah institution, Nishmat, Defining Moments, the Western Wall Heritage Foundation, the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum, and Masorah Publications. Your support and impact has been particularly felt within the walls of this institution, Yeshiva University. Serving as a trustee of the university for many years, you have been fully committed to Yeshiva College's intellectual growth by launching the Jay and Jeannie Schottenstein Honors Program, a hallmark of our institution that enables some of Yeshiva's best and brightest students to flourish here on campus. Both of our campuses have Schottenstein halls that illumine our institution. And while successful business, philanthropic work, and communal activity serve as pillars of your life, Jay, family has always taken precedence. Despite your demanding schedule, your relationship with Jeannie and your children, Joey and Lindsay, Jonathan and Jeffrey, along with your 3 precious grandchildren, has never been compromised. The insistence on strong family ties speaks to the manner in which your parents, Jerome, Olav Shalom, and Geraldine, Libodei L'chaim, were so informing of your life. Your priorities have always been in order, serving as a paragon for all of us here today of what it means to live a life of community while always understanding commitment and responsibility to family. But how could we stand today in this sacred hall at this sacred time and neglect to mention the Schottenstein Talmud through Masorah Publications Art Scroll? This noble and historic gesture of dedication was first enabled by your father, Jerome Schottenstein, whose legacy inspired you to create your own legacy. Not only have you carried out your father's journey with the Talmud program, and not only have you carried out your father's journey with every breath you take, but you have gone even further, expanding its mission through sponsorship of the Talmud Yerushalmi and Mishnah elucidated projects. I would like to tell you that every one of our musmakhim has completed the study of Talmud Yerushalmi. I would like to tell you that, but I can't. Through your commitment, the eternity of the Talmud's wisdom connects countless Jews to their heritage, and as noted in every tractate of the Schottenstein Talmud, quote, a Jew can accomplish nothing more meaningful or lasting than his sojourn on earth, unquote. Jay Schottenstein, your historic and remarkable dedication to the perpetuation of Torah, your close-knit family life, and your never-ending acts of kindness and generosity makes it our honor to confer upon you the Eitz Chaim Award. Mazel tov.
Thank you, President Joel, Rabbi Lamb, Rabbi Penner, and Dr. Dobrinsky. I'm extremely honored and humbled to be receiving this recognition from Reitz and Yeshiva University. This recognition is even more meaningful to me because of the great respect I have and my family has for this institution. Years ago, my father, Jerome of blessed memory, attended Yeshiva High School and lived in the YU dorm. While at the school, he had the good fortune of serving the afternoon tea to Dr. Revel. It is from these experiences that my father developed a lifelong attachment to the school that passed on to me, and to say it is an honor to continue this love and support for YU. I'm excited today to see over 230 rabbinic graduates that will soon assume leadership positions across the world to teach and inspire Jews from all walks of life. In many ways, you, the graduates, are the key to the future of our Jewish community. Our vision for the Schottenstein Talmud was to connect and unite the Jewish people of all backgrounds, from the novice to the advanced, with their Jewish heritage. It is also your mission to unify the Jewish people and to make it Kiddush Hashem. Be it on the pulpit, in the classroom, in the boardroom, you have the responsibility to set the example of Torah Mada, how we, the Jewish community, can find the right balance of living in the secular world and living in the Jewish world. It is this balance that is the example of ideal Jewish living. We know as modern Orthodox Jews, we can and must be productive in both worlds. And all of you in partnership with lay leadership will help families find that balance. It is your sacred mission to unite the Jewish people. Thank you.
We're not only going to dance with Rabbanim, are we?
Hey, I did ונשוב החדש ימינו, ימינו כבקבתם, הישיבנו השם, אילך ונשוב החדש ימינו, ימינו כבקבתם, היי דרי 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 לי 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 היי דרי דרי
It is now my pleasure to call upon Rabbi Yosef Bronstein, representative of the smicha class. Rabbi Bronstein is a fellow of the Wexner Kollel Elyon, instructor of Jewish philosophy at the Isaac Breuer College, and a doctoral candidate at Yeshiva University's Bernard Revel Graduate School of Jewish Studies, who will offer a Dvar Torah on behalf of his class.
Bereshos, Rabbi Lamb, the Rosh Yeshiva, President Joel, Rabbi Penner, fellow musmakhim, and distinguished assembly. Recently, during a time that was neither day nor night, I was perusing the internet. And I stumbled across a contradiction, a stira, between two articles. While such a phenomenon is not uncommon, this particular contradiction grabbed my attention as it pertained to the core identity of our yeshiva. According to the authoritative Wikipedia page of the Rabbi Isaac Elchanan Theological Seminary, Reitz is the Rabbinical Seminary of Yeshiva University, intended to train students for careers as practicing rabbis. However, if you switch your keyboard from English to Hebrew, the nature of our yeshiva seems to magically change. As the Wikipedia page of Yeshiva University has a simple 3-word description of Reitz. Yeshiva b'muvana hamekubal. A yeshiva in the usual sense. Upon reflection, I realized that these two accounts of Reitz, a rabbinical school and a classic yeshiva, are not contradictory, but rather tell the two tales, the tzvei dinim of our yeshiva. Reitz has a dual mission. There's a split that seems to run through its very essence and to permeate the entire institution. On the one hand, Reitz operates in the constellation of professional graduate schools, preparing its students for a career. Entering Reitz every year is a group of idealistic, eager young men filled with a passion to be marber kvod shemayim and to effect positive change in the community. But spiritual leadership is easier said than done. With an increasing percentage of our people becoming religiously unmusical, to borrow Max Weber's self-description, it is difficult to authentically play the Song of Torah in a manner that is calibrated to the ear of the community. RIETS teaches us the skills that are necessary to produce that melody. From the halacha curriculum to pastoral training, from internships to leadership workshops, we received a top-of-the-line education in our chosen field. But there is a second goal of RIETS, the second din, and that is to sing that same song of Torah, but to a different tune, to the melody of the Beis Medrash. The Yeshiva University Beis Medrash is among the finest in the world, populated by renowned Talmidei Chachamim, whose devotion to Torah Lishma, the study of Torah for its own sake, infuses the entire yeshiva. The song of intense Torah study, experienced at times as a kol demama daka, a soft, still sound, and at times as a crashing crescendo, pervades the atmosphere of our Beis Medrash and encourages us to struggle day and night through page after page, sugya after sugya, to be meimis atzmeinu, to exert all of our energies for the study of Torah. These two melodies of RIETS, the Rabbinical School and the Beis Medrash, though independently crucial, are often disharmonious. Most rabbis will have a difficult time translating the in-depth Gemara shiurim they heard at yeshiva into a meaningful message for their community or classroom. The Ramban's nuanced approach to Zika, or the Rambam's elegant rulings regarding Makdish Ba'almam, are not exactly ideal sermon material. However, a deeper analysis reveals that this is a false dichotomy. The core of our yeshiva's ideology is that the Beis Medrash and the Rabbinical School are not two distinct operations, but are intricately linked. This unification of seemingly different poles, achdot ha'hafachim in the language of Rav Kook, is affirmed by a plethora of sources and is in fact inherent in the very term yeshiva. Yeshayahu Gafni, a professor of classical Jewish history at the Hebrew University, analyzed the word yeshiva in Chazal and noted that it has two distinct associations. At times, the term yeshiva refers to a place of Torah study, a Beis Medrash. When Chizkiyahu passes away, the Gemara says, Hoshivu yeshiva al kivro. They establish a Beis Medrash on his grave. But there is another usage of the term. Sifrei Devarim relates the following story. Ma'isa Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri over Rabbi Elazar Chasma. There is a story involving these two holy Tanaim. Shehoshivam Rabban Gamliel by yeshiva. Literally, the Rabban Gamliel caused them to sit in yeshiva. One would think that to cause them to sit in yeshiva would mean that he brought them into the Beis Medrash. He showed them an empty chair and he gave them a Gemara. However, as the story unfolds, this is clearly not the meaning. Later in the Medrash, Rabban Gamliel charges his two students with a message that still rings in the ears of every musmach as he enters his first position. Lisha'avar, in the past, hayisem b'shos atzmachem, you were your own authorities. Achshav, now, harei atem avadim, you are servants, mishubadim litzibor, responsible to the community. Apparently, in this medrash, lehoshiv ba'yeshiva does not mean to enter the yeshiva as a student, but rather to enter a communal position, to become mishubad litzibor. The synthesis of our yeshiva between the Beis Medrash and the Rabbinical School, between learning Torah and being committed to the community, flows directly from Chazal's usage of the term yeshiva. One of the many points of synergetic interface between the Beis Medrash and the Rabbinical School is the transformative power of a study of Torah, and in particular, that it enhances one's responsibility, desire, and spiritual capacity to connect with all Jews. this idea has been articulated in a variety of ways. Yirmiyahu Navi describes the word of Hashem as Eish Bo'eres Atzur Ba'atzmosai, a raging fire in my bones, that he cannot contain within. It must be expressed to the people. The Rambam speaks of the learning of Torah as an expression of the love of Hashem, an emotion that compels the learner to spread his passion with others. And Rav Soloveitchik so captivatingly described how the Torah becomes part of a person's personality and then overflows to others in an act of self-revelation. Whichever formulation one prefers, the general point is clear. Our study of Torah, in addition to its independent significance, heightens our responsibility and capacity to spiritually influence the community. And so, we the musmakhim will wear the badge of Reitz with pride and be forever thankful to our rabbeim, our president, our administrators, our faculty, and the entire staff who are responsible for making our yeshiva among the most unique and impactful in the world. This gratitude is also extended to the donors, the Machzikei Torah, whose vision and generosity are essential to Reitz to pursue its dual but synthesized goals. In addition, our appreciation is especially due to the broader Reitz community, the family and friends of the musmakhim. If my personal experience is true of others, much support and sacrifice was necessary on the part of the musmakhim's spouses, parents, in-laws, grandparents, siblings, and even children for us to be here today. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the overlap between Reitz staff and family in my own life, Reitz's administrator, Rabbi Chaim Bronstein. His loyalty and love for the yeshiva are legendary and have inspired me since childhood. And finally, we need to thank Hashem for our years in yeshiva and daven for divine assistance in the years to come. Thank you and Mazel Tov.
Thank you, Rabbi Bronstein. I am now delighted to begin the process of the presentation of the musmakhim, to introduce our musmakhim, to offer them on behalf of the Rosh Yeshiva the approbation of the Rabbi Isaac Elchanan Theological Seminary, and to offer them divrei chizuk. It is my distinct honor to call upon Harav Herschel Schachter, Rosh Yeshiva, and Rosh Kollel Vlamarcus and Adina Katz Kollel at Reitz, and proud father of one of today's musmakhim.
Yavami ma yemei melech toisim Mesav kemoi der badam Yavami ma yemei melech toisim Mesav kemoi der badam Yavami ma yemei melech toisim Mesav kemoi der badam Yavami ma yemei melech toisim Mesav kemoi der badam I see it now I sound in my davada I am a me my name and I see now I sound in my davada
Thank you very much. B'shus Maranan Rabbanan, I'd like to wish a special mazel tov to all of the musmakhim, to the parents, to their in-laws, to their grandparents, to their children, on the special occasion of this wonderful accomplishment. For many years, as you've heard already many times, Rav Soloveitchik used to speak and he used to give a charge to the musmakhim. So I was requested to give a bit of a charge to the musmakhim. Along with this accomplishment comes a serious responsibility. As the Pasuk says in Chumash, as the Pasuk says, we just read in the Haftarah Parsha Zachem, Kot na'adei meinecha, Rosh l'alfa Yisrael ato. Eini kol Yisrael alechem. The Balabatim look up to the Rabbanim, and they expect the Rabbanim to be holy people. So you have to show the Balabatim. Until now, Arachshav, as we said before, Hisin b'shus atzmechem. Some people talk in the middle of davening. Some people look in the sefer in the middle of Chazaras Hashatz, in the middle of Kriyas HaTorah. Now you're Rabbanim. The Balabatim are looking up to you. You have to make sure that you come to shul on time. You have to make sure that you daven b'shas tefillah, that you pay attention to the Kriyas HaTorah. If you're going to look in the sefer, they're going to look in the newspaper. You have to be careful. Rabbi Soloveitchik always used to encourage the Rabbanim to have to be careful to give tzedakah b'ayin yofeh, because the Balabatim will notice it, whether you're participating or not. We're learning Masechah Shabbos this year in the Yeshiva. The Gemara says twice in Masechah Shabbos, Adam Chashav Shiny. Not only did the Rabbanim have a responsibility to be medaktik in all of the dinim, they have to be medaktik l'chumra, more than the Balabatim. They have to be more careful. Just one mashal that's so serious in our generation, there is a heta yichud. If you have baila boyer, the Rabbanim have to realize that they have to be machmir. So many people have fallen in because of this. The rabbis have a special discretionary fund, so they have to be careful how they distribute the money and to make sure that they keep very careful accounting for every penny in the discretionary fund. No one should be choshed that the rabbi pocketed some of the money for his own purposes. Rabbi Soloveitchik always used to encourage the Rabbanim to have to prepare seriously for every drosha and for every shir that they say. You can't just walk up and say whatever occurs to you. The Rabbanim should not talk down to the Balabatim. They should talk a little on a higher level. They shouldn't talk above everybody's head. The Balabatim won't gain anything out of that. You have to elevate the Balabatim to a higher level of learning. And this requires a lot of preparation. The Gemara quotes the Pasuk, Or Rosa Malachas Hashem Remiyah. For the Rav who doesn't prepare for his droshes or for his shiurim, that's terrible. Rabbi Soloveitchik always used to mention the Mishnah beginning of Pirkei Avos having Misunim Badin. He said the Rabbanim in America get shilas over the telephone, and the Balabatim expect them to give the psak over the phone. Shilas the Rab Chaim Ozer would take a whole week to work on. And the Mishkanis Yankov would write a tshuva after working a whole week and say he's only mekel b'tzirif another to Gedolei Torah. In America, the Balabatim expect the Rabbanim to paskin over the telephone. So Rav Soloveitchik said, have a Misunim Badin, never paskin anything over the telephone. Even if it's an elementary shaila, tell the Balabas you have to look it up in Shulchan Aruch. I remember the Rav mentioned that one of the Chag HaSemikhahs, that the Pischei Tshuva quotes from the Pri Megadim, that Meira Halacha Bifnei Rabbi applies, Bizman is at the one who paskins without looking in a sefer. The Rishonim already say, the Bali Ataysa say that Bizman Hazeh, this Svarim, are really Rabba Muvak. Rova for Chochmeh is gained from reading Svarim. So you should never paskin a shaila without looking it up in Shulchan Aruch, looking it up in a sefer. A Rav should never be embarrassed to say Eni Yodeya. Rabbi Schwartz spoke about this yesterday by Shalosh Shudas, how important it is. We should be like Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu was not embarrassed to say, Rabbi Reitz spoke yesterday about this. Moshe Rabbeinu was not embarrassed to say, Lo lamadati, lo shamati, shamati v'shachachti. A Rav should not be embarrassed to say Eni Yodeya. The highest level of psak the Gemara considers is when the Talmud says over exactly what he heard from his Rebbe. Yeshua ben Nun, the Gemara says, didn't have to say, I heard from Moshe Rabbeinu. Of course you heard from Moshe Rabbeinu. Who else did he hear from? So the Gemara says it's not only Yeshua ben Nun. Rab Lazar, who was the Talmud of Rabbi Yechanan, never said over b'shem Rabbi because everybody knew he heard everything from Rab Lazar. The highest level of psak is the Talmud says over word for word everything that he heard from his father, from his Rebbe. The Rabbanim have to be careful when they issue a psak on a din Torah. We have so many Balabatim today who are just afraid to go to a din Torah because there are scandalous outcomes. People are going to secular court. It's against the din. Very often it's the fault of the Rabbanim. They don't give honest piskei dinim. They do even sadin. This is terrible. A young rabbi will most probably make a few mistakes in psak in the beginning of his career, and we shouldn't feel bad about that. The Gemara says, Eid on oimed al dvar halochem kein nichshel batchila. The Gemara quotes the pasuk in Yeshayim, Hachshel azos tachas yadecha. But the rabbi has to have intellectual honesty to get up in front of the balabatim if he made a mistake and to say, Dvam shamartu efnechem toas hein biyodi. Have the Amoraim used to say like that. They would get up in public and say, I made a mistake in psak, not to cover up on oneself. The Mishnah tells us in Pirkei Avos, the Hovis on Malachas Noas HaRabbanos. So Chaim Volozhin has in his commentary on Pirkei Avos an interpretation. We should enjoy, we should love the Malachas HaRabbanos, the giving shiurim and preparing the drushes. And we should be saying the Rabbanos, the position of grandeur, the covet that the Balabatim give us. A person should be careful that the covet shouldn't go to his head. A rabbi is a rabbi out of town, and he has balabatim who can't even read a Kitzur Shulchan Aruch with Nekudas. Of course, he's going to talk it into himself that he's God's gift to the world. He's such a great Talmid Chacham. Shouldn't go to our heads. The Chazal comment on the pasuk Es Hashem Elokecha Tir LeRabbis Talmidei Chachamim. So we know the pasuk pshat. So the Welt says the pshat Es LeRabbis Talmidei Chachamim also have to have Yirah Shamayim. We shouldn't think that we're above the Rebbeinu Shalom. We also have to have Yirah Shamayim. And yesterday's Sedra, we saw the Rashi, the speakers yesterday were speaking, Rabbi Gedalia Schwartz and Rabbi Reitz spoke about it. Moshe Rabbeinu encourages Aaron HaKohen Krabel HaMizbeach. So Rashi quotes from the Tanam, Shehoya Aharon Bosh v'Yori Lageshes Al HaMizbeach. Moshe Rabbeinu told him, Lekach Nevcharto. So the Welt says the Taich, they attribute it to different Chassidish Rebbes and to Rabbanim, Lakach Nevcharta, because you have Busha, that's why you deserve, because you feel inadequate, that's why you deserve to be Amani. The minute a rabbi feels that he's royal Lakach, that he deserves this covet and everything, he should really resign from the Rabbanim. A Rabbanim should continue to have that attitude that we're not really royal Lakach. I'll just conclude with the bracha that the Gemara has when the Talmidim would leave the yeshiva, and assumedly they would be getting smicha. So the Gemara says the Rabbeim in yeshiva would give the bracha from the pasuk in Tilim, Alufeinu misubolim ein peretz vein yotzes vein tzvacha birchoi vaseinu. So the Gemara says the tefillah was shelo yehei lanu bein oy talmid shel magiach tavshilo barabim. He wrote and should all continue to have hatzlocha and learning. Years ago, they used to tell a joke that the Balabatim once caught the rabbi learning, and they fired him. They thought the rabbi had smicha, he knew everything. You should continue to learn. You have to explain to the Balabatim that Rabbanim have to continue learning, and even if we know Kolana Chacham, Kolana Zan, Kolana Yedim, Kala Tarakula, but we can forget it, so we should make sure that you shouldn't forget it. President Joel, on behalf of the Rosh Yeshiva and the Hanhala of the Yeshiva, I'm proud to present the musmakhim of the Chag HaSemikhah of Shnas Tovshin Ayin Dalet.
Thank you, Rav Schechter, and thank you to all of our speakers and to our honorees for making this a most memorable occasion. We have now reached the highlight of the program, the musmakhim of Chag HaSemikhah, Tafshin Ayin Daled, the future of our community. We begin by recognizing some of the musmakhim celebrating their ordination today in Eretz Yisrael and other places around the world who are unable to be with us. Please give your attention for a moment to the video screens.
Sure.
To invite each musmach here with us today to come to the stage, one by one, because you've earned it, to be congratulated by the President, the Rosh HaYeshiva Emeritus, and the Rosh HaYeshiva. It's my pleasure to call upon my dear and beloved colleague, who has duly negotiated the rigorous requirements of smicha with each and every Talmud, Rabbi Chaim Bronstein, the administrator of the Rabbi Isaac Elchanan Theological Seminary, and the proud father of Rabbi Yosef, to call the first group of names. He will be followed by Rabbi Yosef Kalinsky, a Yadin Musmach today, and the Associate Dean of the Men's Undergraduate Torah Studies, and by Rabbi Levi Mustavsky, who has been so helpful in putting together this Chag HaSemikhah, the Director of the Department of Continuing Education for CJF Reitz. We begin with 6 Rabbanim, who have received Yadin Smicha, which is awarded to those students who have previously received the traditional Yori Smicha and have now earned an additional Smicha in Jewish jurisprudence after studying for numerous years in the Rabbi Norman Lamb Kola Lahora under the tutelage of Rabbi J. David Bleich and Rabbi Mordechai Willig, and with much help from Rabbi Honorees. President Joel, Rabbi Lamb, and the Rosh Yeshiva, please join me in congratulating our musmakhim as they come onto the stage.
Tov le'odays l'Hashem, tov le'odays l'Hashem, u'lezamer l'shimcha Elyon. Tov le'odays l'Hashem, tov le'odays l'Hashem, u'lezamer l'shimcha Elyon. Hay le'agid b'boiker, b'boiker chaznecha, monas l'ba'aleh.
Shlomo Weissman. Rav Yosef Kalinsky. Rav Ari Zatz. Rav Simcha Hopkovitz. Rav Uri Orlean. Rav Yaakov Fait.
We now call upon the largest fourth-year class of Yori Musmachim in the history of Yeshivas Rabbeinu Yitzchak Elchanan.
Yosef Bronstein. Rav Josh Copperwass. Rav Zev Ader. Rav Yosef Yanitz. Rav Nathan Fine, Rav Avram Goldstein, Rav Yaakov Grun, Rav Moshe Farkas, Rav Alon Amar, Rav Yosef Abba Sharbat, Rav Ruben HaKohen Berman, Rav Yaakov Daniel Turkel, Rav Sam Ash, Rav Stephen Mermelstein, Rav Aaron Chanina Finkelstein, Rav Yaakov Trump, Rav Jonathan Hefter, Rav Reuven Tzvi Schwechter, Rav Saul Hamoff, Rav Tzvi Selengut, Rav David New, Rav Seth Shmulowitz, Rav Ezra Goldschmidt,
Rav David Bashevkin, Rav Adam Hertzberg, Rav Zevi Spitz, Rav Chaim Bash, Rav Aaron Abramson, Rav Yaman Krohn, Rav Chesky Gewurz, Rav Mati Neuberger, Rav Noah Garden Schwartz, Rav Moshe Ariel Rosenzweig, Rav Shlomo Zuckier, Rav Josh Gutenberg, Rav Shai Schechter, Rav Joel Markin, Rav Joshua Schulman, Rav Hartley Perlmutter, Rav Yamin Lerfield, Rav Moshe Goldfeder, Rav Shalom Schlagman, Rav Shlomo Wadler, Rav Isaac Rice, Rav Anasha Masaryk, Rav Avi Harari, Rav Dovi Bergman, Rav Avi Nari Tolansky, Rav Yechiel Schaffer, Rav Eitan Ehrenfeld, Rav Daniel Lowenstein, Rav Zev Felsen, Rav Yerbayo Norman, Rav Mark Liebman, Rav Eli Kurtz, Rav David Zirkin, Rav Jesse Lempel, Rav Eli Friedman, got the 70s. Rabbi Yair Manis, Rav Batisyahu Shachet, Rav Meir Laniado, Rav Nathan Dweck, Rav Jonathan Klatt, Rav Eliezer Ferguson, Rav Ephraim Meth, Rav Peter Kahn. It's now my pleasure to introduce Rabbi Yosef Kanevsky, Associate Dean of Undergraduate Torah Studies, who will continue the reading of the names.
Rabbi Shimon Rosenberg, Rabbi Mordechai Weissman, Rabbi Yitzchak Ehrenberg, Rabbi Yeshua Reitz, Rabbi Daniel Wolf, Barry Dollinger, Noah Greenfield, Rav Stephen Janikowski, Rav Tzvi Bernstein, Rav Tzvi Yehuda Wilbur, Rav Ariel Bannett, Rav Rael Blumenthal, Rav Yonatan Frankel, Rav Yair Frankel, Rav Zev Goldberg, Rav Noah Goldberg, Rav Lavi Zaret, Rav Daniel Henry Sherman, Rav David Halpern, Rav Rafi Mandelstam, Rav David Eckstein, Rav Mordechai Ambrose, Rav Dr. Yona Bardos, Rav Yitz Novak, Rav Tani Prero, Rav Yosef Rosen, Rav Binyamin Kohanim, Rav Michael Emerson, Rav Avi Miller, Rav Michael Goon, Rav Aaron Horn, Rav Ariel Levi, Rav Maury Goldsmith, Rav Eitan Lipstein, Rav Yitzi Clapper, Rav David Einhorn, Rav Ami Newman, Rav Adam Freeberg, Rav Matan Erder, Rav David Pardo, Rav Robert Charnock, Rav Ephraim Eligulav, Rav Darren Levin, Yitzchak Baruch Lieberman, Seth Grossman,
Eliada Goldberg, Rav Daniel Lachheimer, Rav Pesach Binyamin Avraham Zaleski, Rav Herschel Hartz, Rav Shalom Benny Rofe, Harav Dr. Eitan Cohen. Harav Gabi Danieli. Harav Ephraim Kleinberg. Harav Avram Block. Harav Johnny Gordon. Harav Akiva Fleischman. Harav David Teller. Harav Michael Curran. Harav Danny Schulman. Harav Josh Rosenfeld. Harav Yoni Gold. Harav Daniel Jerome. Harav Michael Finkelstein. Harav Yaakov Gershon. Harav Mordechai Gershon. Harav Yosef Blumenthal. Harav Tzvi Geffner. Harav Mordechai Schiffman. Harav Eitan Ben David. Harav Gideon Black. Harav Amitai Bear Blickstein. Harav Zion Setin. Harav Daniel Friedman. Harav Avi Strauss. Harav Ruvain Garrett. Harav Dov Lerner. Harav Binyamin Leibowitz. Harav David Schlusselberg. Hey, David Melech Israel. Harav Ruvain Lebovitz. Melech Israel. David Melech Israel. Melech Israel. Harav Yonatan Weinberg. Harav Binyamin Goldman. Harav Avram Moshe Engelson. Harav David Schachter. Harav Moshe Laster. Harav Daniel Korda. Harav David Weiss. Harav Alicia Friedman. Harav Chaim Litzenblatt. Harav Tzvi Weiss. Harav Ari Diamond. Harav Mordechai Harris. Harav Mordechai Fleischer. Harav Moshe Winograd. Harav Meir Kovacs. Harav Jeremy Hellman. Harav Ari Polyakov. Harav Yaakov Hoffman. Harav Yaakov Ehrenkrantz. Harav Binyamin Ehrenkrantz. Harav Eitan London. Harav Mordechai Klein. Harav Yakir Schechter. Harav Yitzi Ganek. Harav Noah Chessis. Harav Jeremy Donath. Harav Aryeh Sova. Harav Joshua Brown. Harav Sandy Schultz. Harav David Snyder. Harav David Preil. Harav Yitzchak Brand. Harav Aryeh Charka. Harav Ben Krinsky. Harav Dani Bauer. Harav Ari Newman. Harav Yitzi Klein. Harav Daniel Fox. Harav Adam Pesach Dubin. Harav Alec Goldstein. Harav Benji Samuel. Harav Josh Gradauer. Harav Elihu Abbey. Harav Jeremy Barron. Harav Effie Unterman. Harav David Schur. Harav Daniel Tabak. Harav Jonathan Spear. Harav Rafi Abraham. Harav Eli Bloom.
Please join me in wishing Mazel Tov to this year's class. Mazel Tov.
Hi, Simon time, Mazel time, Simon time. Yeah, I know that I'm sorry. Simon time, Mazel time, Simon time. Yeah, I know that I'm sorry. Hi, Simon time, Mazel time, Simon time. Yeah, I know that I'm sorry. Simon time, Mazel time, Simon time. Yeah, I know that I'm sorry. Hey, Simon time, Mazel time, Simon time. Yeah, hey, I know the fun is right. Hey, Simon time, Mazel time, Simon time. Yeah, hey, I know fun is right. Hey, Simon time, Mazel time, Simon time. Yeah, hey, I know the fun is right. Hey, Simon time, Mazel time, Simon time. Yeah, hey, I know the fun is right. Hey, hey,
Please be seated. Please join me in wishing a Mazel Tov to this year's class. In just a few moments, at the conclusion of the ceremony, we will proceed outside to dance on Amsterdam Avenue with our new musmakhim. Please give your close attention to the herald, Rabbi Joshua Joseph, for further instructions. After the dancing, the musmakhim and ticketed guests are invited to a reception in the Max Stern Athletic Center. To mark this occasion, each musmach will receive a special set of gifts, including a beautiful slipcase edition of Igro Tagrid letters of Rabbi Joseph B. Soloveitchik, a madrich, the rabbi's manual for life cycle events, and a copy of the new Students of Yeshiva Haggadah with insights from Rabbi Isaac Elchanan, Theological Seminary Talmidim, and Rosh Yeshiva. Copies of this Haggadah and many other titles of the Reitz press will be available for sale at the reception. Rabbi Penner.
Before we conclude, and it will be in just a moment, I would like to thank and single out a number of people amongst the army of professionals and volunteers who have helped to make this day possible. All the departments of the university that work together so closely to make this event happen. Facilities, Joe, Robert, and Omar. Security, Don, Ed, and Plata. Productions, CPA, Communications, Mike Scagnoli, Philippe, Judy, Emily, Matt, Peril, Shira, and Steve. Institutional Advancement, Rabbi Aaron Leibowitz did so much. Thank you so much. Janine Kay, Julie Schreier, event staff, Melissa, Floor, and Norma. The CJF, led by Rabbi Brander, to Yoni Cohen, Rabbi Levi Mustavsky, Nechama Cohen, Aryeh Charka, and the whole team for pitching in, to the Reitz board, led by Joel Schreiber, to the Rosh Yeshiva and the committee, and Rosh Yeshiva and faculty who spoke in 20 communities. Don't worry, we're going to thank Eliza Barinholtz. Sarah Emerson, Daniel Gordon, Yechiel Schaffer, and Rabbi Shlush. To students and musmakhim within Reitz. To Rabbi Bronstein and Sharon for processing all of your smichas. To Rabbi Reitz for his very important role in every one of your smichas. To Rabbi Kalinsky, Rabbi Waitman, to Chazki Naor, and 4 people who made this event possible. To Ari Weitz, to Eliza Berenholtz, to Yaakov Taubes, and to Menachem Lewin. Thank you so much. We hope to see you soon on Shavuos, the Shavuos program from Reitz. We hope to see you, ladies and gentlemen. Please rise and join in the singing of Atikva, which will be led by Rabbi Moshe Tisson, director of the Sephardic Community Program and faculty member of the Philip and Sarah Bell School of Jewish Music.
Mr. President, the Chag HaSemikhah ceremonies are now concluded.
Ladies and gentlemen, our celebration will continue with dancing on Amsterdam Avenue. The leadership of the yeshiva will leave first and gather outside to welcome a new cadre of rabbinic leaders into the midst, so please have a seat until everybody has filed out. Please. Our guests are invited to watch on the video screens as the musmakhim leave Zeisman Hall and begin the celebration shortly. Please remain seated until all the participants of the recessional have left the auditorium. Members of the musmakhim, if I would ask you to please rise and give one last opportunity for Hakaras Hatov to the President, to the Rosh Yeshiva Emeritus, to the Rosh Yeshiva, the Honorees, members of the boards and administration who are now asked to leave the auditorium via the stage exit. They will be meeting the musmakhim at the front of the Zeisman Hall. Everyone else is asked to please remain seated.
Tell them there's food in the gym, right?
Yeah.